Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll continue our reading from Vaisnava Ke. What kind of devotee are you? This is a Bengali poem written by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Translation and extensive quotes are from His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and commentary by His Holiness, Jayapataka Swami. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim. Yat kripa tamam vande Shri Gurun Din Tarinam Paramananda Padvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tatsat. Verse 7. We'll begin from today. Kirtan Chadiba Pratishtha Makhiba Ki Kaj Dudiya Tadrisha Gaurav Madhavendra Puri Bhavaghare Churi Na Korilo Kabhu Sadai Janaba. So let's go to the the word by word meaning as well. Kirtan is chanting the Lord's name. Chadiba, I will give up. Pratishtha, fame. Makhiba, I will smear on my body. Ki kaja, what effect. Dudiya, seeking for. Tadrisha, this kind of Gaurav, grandeur. Madhavendra Puri is Madhavendra Puri. Bhavaghare Churi, imitating. Na Karila Kabhu, never did. Sadai, always. Janaba, knowledgeable. Now the translation. My dear mind, you want me to give up the congregational chanting of Lord Krishna's holy names to practice solitary worship. Then you want me to anoint myself with the material desires for temporary possession and cheap fame. How can you consider these illusory activities of Maya to have even the slightest spiritual value or glory in them? Don't commit the offense of falsely imitating the devotional service of the great spiritual master Madhavendra Puri. He was never a false imitation, but was a fully realized, liberated soul. He traveled to spread the glories of Lord Krishna and continuously chanted the holy name of the Lord without slightest desire for cheap popularity and reputation. Kindly remember his great transcendental qualities. Purport by. Now let's go to the purport. Madhavendra Puri was never imitating anyone when he chanted in solitude. He was in a fully liberated state. Inexperienced devotees sometimes try to substantiate their independent activities by citing the example of an exalted soul like Madhavendra Puri, who would sit and chant all day and night. He would also conduct his worship in the company of few devotees, but he had reached a level of total absorption in love for Radha and Krishna and was already on the transcendental platform of devotional service. Already situated in his eternal relationship with Krishna, Madhavendra Puri never imitated anyone. Everything he did was a natural part of his eternal relationship with Krishna. He was visibly acting within the world, but he was not a citizen of this universe. He was a citizen of the spiritual world. Our restless minds must be trained not to imitate, but instead to perceive our true level of devotional service. The Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Nectar of Devotion both give detailed explanations of the symptoms of the various levels of advancement in Krishna consciousness. These transcendental literatures advise us to study these symptoms to see what level we have achieved. By anubhavas of the secondary symptoms that are visible in our service, our mental activities, and degree of enthusiasm, we can see our real positions. If we are still attracted to material objects, then any imitation of liberated souls such as Madhavendra Puri will create havoc in our spiritual lives. So the mind is challenged. How can you foolishly propose that I give up chanting and associating with devotees? This notion simply means that you are becoming falsely proud. You want to think that you are so advanced that you don't need to live with the devotees, that you are beyond the need for association, but the truth is that you are only hurting yourself and wasting the opportunity to be Krishna conscious. Pride ultimately leads only to cheating oneself and others as well. To practice devotional service, we must give up false pride. Devotional service is the easiest yoga in all but one aspect. It demands no rigorous physical and mental feats, but it does also demand complete sincerity and straightforwardness. And the renunciation of false pride. For many people, the renunciation is the most difficult task. In fact, some very austere and learned people find it practically impossible. It is also great an austerity for them as they are too attached to their positions and want to be aloof, finding it difficult to totally surrender their minds to Krishna. But the Sankirtan movement can destroy this false pride, therefore, we should never give it up. By our congregational chanting, all anarthas, that is, the unwanted attitudes in the mind, will be cleansed away. And as they are removed, our real perfection will be achieved. The relinquishing is not something to be imitated, but it will come spontaneously from the heart. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhu Naya Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udaya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22nd chapter, verse number 107, describes how pure love of Godhead can never be obtained externally, but it is internally present within us. It is simply covered over by clearing the contamination covering the heart, that love of God will arise. But how do you cleanse the heart? By Shravanadi, by hearing and chanting Krishna's name. Krishna's fame, Krishna's activities, just as the sky may be overcast, but as the sunlight rises above the clouds are driven away. Similarly, when the dirt that clouds our hearts is cleansed away, our pure love for Krishna will be manifest. Everyone in the world is already Krishna conscious. We do not need to convert anyone. It is just a question of removing the covering. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that everyone is Krishna conscious, but there are different stages of ignorance. Some people are covered like embryos in the womb, others are like fire covered with smoke, and still others are like mirrors covered with dust. Living beings who operate like animals in the gross mode of ignorance are like the child in the womb, completely covered. Those who are in the mode of passion are like fire covered with smoke. The fire is there, but because of the smoke, we cannot see it clearly. And others who are only slightly covered are like dusty mirrors. By wiping off the dust, one can see things as they really are. So in reality, everyone is already a member of this movement. Everyone is already internally related to Krishna. It is only a question of purifying the mind of all materialistic contamination. Once freed from all materialistic misconceptions, we can realize Krishna as our eternal master and shelter. So this brings us to the end of verse number 7. Thank you for joining. Harim Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.